The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 28th day of May 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Wealth Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, we've had some days off. You haven't had to deal with me, see me, hear me. So you must be refreshed and ready for a new week of Daily Hour talk shows. But how was everyone's weekend? I mean, it's been a while. I haven't engaged with you in quite a bit. Hopefully everyone had a good holiday. Unfortunately, it wasn't all fun and games, and Maya will be with you a bit later to bring you some updates as it relates to the most unfortunate incidents that occurred on and around Bermuda Day. But happy Tuesday. This is the Daily Hours Monday this week, as we observed both Bermuda Day and Memorial Day on this program. I had a wonderful weekend. Since you don't want to share, I'm going to tell you all about mine. I had a wonderful weekend. I don't know who knows, but Sherry and I got a picture taken together this weekend, and the proof is in the pudding that I'm 6'2" and she's 5'6". I am taller than Sherry, which I just wanted to let you all know that the argument is settled. So she can continue on with her short jokes all she wants. But we have the proof. We have the pictures that have been taken to prove that. But I had a fun weekend. I was actually in Atlanta. I was at the Jazz Festival yesterday, Atlanta Jazz Festival, supporting a bunch of Black vendors at that event. Really cool. Didn't get to stay long enough to see Andre 3000 play his flute. So I had an airplane to catch back home last night so that I can be here with all of you. But I had quite a good weekend. Did some virtual reality in Atlanta. I was just like, Maya would enjoy this kind of stuff. And yeah, got to see family and friends. That doesn't include Sherry. I wouldn't say she's a friend, just somebody that knows me. Yep, here she goes with her short jokes, folks. She can't help herself. Okay, the abuse. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Tuesday, Jamel and TDH team, and awesome Tuesday to you as well, Suzanne. And I just want to say to you all, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We have a good one today. We have Tenia Wooldridge from the Parliamentary registrar's office coming up today. So I know a lot of people have questions about voting, how to register, whether they're registered, changing constituencies. Well, this is the person that you can ask all of those questions to. So she's looking forward to it, engaging with you, and hopefully you have your questions ready for her. The daily play is a remember when today. Yeah, it's a remember when. So I obviously do not have a co-host today, so someone will, the winner will be eligible for this week's prize. Also, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's get into today's conversation. Suzanne says, Jamel, be nice to Sherry. She's a lady. Hello, did you not just hear her call me names? My goodness. Well, anyway, let's get into today's conversation. Again, I just want to say, I don't like the idea of sending condolences, but I want to send love to the families impacted by what happened during the Bermuda Day holiday. And again, Maya will provide more details on that during her news break, but you can't ignore life loss when that happens in our community. But the question of the morning, I did get to see much of the parade during the on via CITV, and I did follow the runners on TNN and BBC between the two. But what are your thoughts on Bermuda Day 2024? Like, what are your thoughts on what took place? First off, let's ask, how did you spend the holiday? How did you spend the holiday? How did everyone spend the holiday? What did you do? What did you do? How did you spend the holiday? Did anyone go to the parade? Did anyone see the runners? Did you go on the water? You know, everyone says how that's the unofficial start of summer and people go swimming. Did anyone dip a toe in? Was anyone in the parade? Do we have anyone that participated in the parade in the audience today? Well, what did anyone participate in the Sinclair Packwood Memorial Race? Did anyone participate in the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby? How'd you spend the holiday, audience? How'd you spend it? Anika DeShields, she says, on Front Street for the races and parade, a great Bermuda Day. All right, Front Street loving. You know, the one day of the year most Bermudians get to own a piece of real estate on Front Street. Angeline Butler says, runners, parade, the finish line on Court Street was definitely a vibe. It looked real cool. I heard people really enjoyed that. Yeah. So I guess that'll be continuing. So how'd you spend it, audience? How'd you spend the holiday? Did anyone just stay home and do nothing? Did anyone watch coverage on CITV or BBC or TNN? Like, how did you spend the holiday? What did you do? What did you do? Let us know what you did for the holiday. But also, what are your thoughts on the holiday? Because, you know, I saw something. It was a Facebook status by Dr. David Chapman. I think he goes by David Roots. And he was just speaking of, you know, I guess it's kind of his disdain with the Gumbies and how they shouldn't be entertainment, right? But I'm gonna tell you, and I think he did put another post. I enjoyed most of the Gumby troops. Work Gumbies did this thing where the music went off and they still danced. I was impressed. Gumby Evolution and Gumby, like I was very pleased with what I was able to see on CITV. But H&H just every year is just something about H&H that just you feel it. You don't even have to be into Gumbies, but you just feel it. They take you somewhere. They take you on a journey with them. And this year, unless you were a part of H&H, you didn't know they were coming with what they came with. All black, the meaning behind the wearing of the black to honor those who came before them, who they've lost. Like that right there just created its own vibe. And then I saw a video of them in the black at night. It was a vibe, man. H&H just always finds a way to add that uniqueness. And let me be clear, this is not to say they're better than any other Gumbies. To me, it's not a competition. They all are so different, unique, and they honor what it is they do in different ways. So I don't want people acting as if, oh, no, there's not. I enjoyed watching them all. Fella I used to coach, Jordan Lamb, on the drums, just the excitement and vibe. I think he's part of Gumby Warriors. But H&H just, I felt it, man. And I saw, it was just, I enjoyed that about Bermuda Day. And my hope is that Gumbies are not just seen as entertainment. When I'm on the airplane and listening to the Gumbies and the folk on the left and the folk on the right, I just happened to be cheap and not pay for aisle seat this time, but I was in the middle, looking like, why this guy, what's he listening to? I want him feeling indifferent. Because that is our history, that's our culture. But what are your thoughts on Bermuda Day 2024? Sheldon Fox said, I participated in the relay and the parade. Well, Mr. Is it not Colonel Fox? Is it like Sergeant Fox? Lieutenant Fox, I saw you in the parade. Yeah, and congratulations on the relay as well. Yeah, you were in the Bermuda Regiment. I think I did see you. I saw the regiment did something different too. They had like it looked like school children who had their like school uniforms on. That was pretty cool as well. That was pretty cool. Rosalind Famous said, watch the race from TNN live stream. It was an exciting sprint to the finish between Lamont and Ryan. Let's talk about that. I put a Facebook post, and I know, elite runners will say, oh, well, the time, it wasn't that fast at 1:14, it wasn't 1:10. Folks, us folks who ain't into running ain't really care about that. But that was I can't shoot. That was probably not a good term right now, but it was a heat. It was an exciting race. And I mean, props to Lamont, right? Major props to Lamont, but also to Ryan Otterbridge, who pushed Lamont right until the end. That was something that I think kept the crowd in it. And Lamont didn't pull away till the top of Dutton Avenue. Once they got to Dutton Avenue and he went, that was a race for the ages, folks. And I give thanks to both of those individuals. And also, I think it was Sean Tucker who, Sean Tucker who was in the mix. It was all three of them until like Harbor Road, right? But that was something for the ages. And I appreciate, I was glad that the crowd got to witness a close race, because for the most part, it's usually a couple minutes between first and second. Regardless of who the winner has been. Sheldon Fox says, yes, the regiment had 4 school children join them. That was pretty cool. I don't know who came up with that idea, but that was pretty cool. Anika the Shield says, my dad watched via CITV and wasn't impressed. I was going to try to ignore that, but I'm just going to touch on it. I have a lot of respect for Lady T, as we knew her when we back in the day when she was on the radio, Tina Evans. She was awesome. I love her. The explanations. I'll just say this much as far as commentating and so on. You hear the gentleman during cricket season, and I'm going to pick one, the voice of summer, Sean and Jason Ford. These are trained individuals, right? They know what to do. I was upset, and I don't want to be that person with the camera angles, making sure that, like, you can interview the lady from Vibe Tribe Gumbays and never show her on camera while she's there. Like, we want to know who she is. But also the commentating. And I say this with love and respect. I think that it would be wise to watch some parades, like maybe the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, or even the Rose Parade, just to get an idea of how the commentary goes, so that it can come across a bit more polished. I mean, I'm not the most polished talk show host, but at least I do try to, I have to go back and watch myself. And then I'm really shocked at what I said sometimes and how I said it. And then I try not to do it again, even though I probably do. But my point is, I think I get that. I completely understand those concerns. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, H&H was the perfect ending to the parade. The black and the whole vibe they brought was something to witness. I felt it, Charles, online. Like, it was one of those things where you just wanted to be present. Again, I didn't expect it. I'm not part of H&H. So seeing it, I was like, they weren't all black. And then just the vibe they bring. I mean, it hits different. It takes you in that space, right? And they released this video, I think, Dion the Creative last night. And I was just like, man, like that's what you should be feeling, that connection to why Gumbays even exist. So I understand Dr. David Chapman about the whole Gumbays are not for entertainment. I'm going to be honest with you. You all may not like this, but I absolutely hate. Yeah, I use the word hate. Gumbays performing for tourists. I do. Most of them don't care. I've heard some things said from tourists when Gumbays are performing, even non-Bermudians who work in that space that I've shared with you on the show. I don't like it. I don't. Now, if we want to get some tourists to follow the Gumbays around Bermuda, that to me is the true real experience, not going to hotels. But That's neither here or there. We're not talking about that today. What were your thoughts on the Bermuda Day 2024? Jody Yu says, hot peppers. Well, they brought the heat, she said. How about that? I missed them, though. I didn't see them because the parade was so stretched out for me watching online. You know, your boy was in Atlanta trying to have fun and visit his peeps, right? So I couldn't watch it all the way through. And then the commentary just didn't keep me interested long enough to kind of stay there. But I missed them. If anyone can direct me, I missed them. But I heard they were there. I heard that the DCR, Dynamic City Rockettes, did a thing as well. Yeah. Okay. We've got Anthony Peets, H&H. One layers witness to the culture they intentionally cultivate. There is immense pride they have. You feel it. You feel it. You feel it. You absolutely feel it. You feel it. What else, audience? What are your thoughts? What are some other takeaways from Bermuda Day? What are some other takeaways from Bermuda Day? Some things that you would say, you know what? I love this. This really showed Bermuda to the world in the best possible way. I'm trying to think something else I saw. You know, I did watch. I didn't. I'll be honest. Once Ryan Wooldridge crossed the finish line, I was done watching the race. I had to jump up and go do some things. So I appreciate. I must give a big shout out to Trevor. Trevor, his coverage was of major quality. I do wish that he had a team of people. That was the only thing probably missing because you know, he tried to capture as many runners as possible at one point and then had to go speed up to get to Harbor Road to get right back to the front. But I appreciate his coverage was it was very visible. It was clear. It was quality. Always appreciate BBC giving you multiple camera options. I know some people were, you know, speaking about the quality, but in fairness, folks, working in this space, you're going to have those hiccups. Unless the public, the general public, and this is on us. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but unless you start financially supporting your media companies, then you're going to get what you pay for. And if you pay nothing, then Trevor's not going to be able to have another person to give you another shot. BBC may not have another option to provide you more quality. It's on us. You know, Mama used to say, you get what you pay for. If you pay absolutely nothing, if you've never given $1, then you really can't complain about the quality. Think about that. Close your eyes and just think, dang, I ain't never done. Think about that. What are your thoughts on Bermuda Day 2024? Traveling Trotty says, Filipino Association was wonderful. I missed them, but I did see someone share a picture of them like years apart. That was pretty cool. Captured them many years ago. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, Trevor does an awesome job. I elected him for next year too. She says she elected him. Filipino Association, second that. Well, I did see some comments online. I saw some comments online saying, why was it Jamaican Association and Filipino Association in Bermuda Day Parade? And I'm just like, we're really having this conversation. Folks, here's the thing. There are so many, and I know some people don't like to hear this, but Bermuda, whether we like it or not, is made up of different cultures, especially at this point, right? We have to make up our minds whether we want to embrace others or not. Yeah, we can't do it when we feel like it's, you know, convenient. Anthony Pete says, enjoyed seeing family togetherness. A few I saw hosted visitors. The city was packed. Absolutely love that. Renee Simmons says, hot peppers were hot. The Portuguese cultural float was interesting as well. All righty. Well, let's bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. I'm sure she has a very packed news break as we have been away for quite a time. So let's bring her in. Keep your comments coming. I know she may have been able to witness some of the Bermuda Day festivities as well. But let's bring her in for Daily Hour News Break. Don't forget, Tenia Wooldridge coming up after the news break, folks. You don't want to miss that. We are having a conversation. Oh, some of you are still on the voter registry. They removed me. So this is all about you all.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, hello, Miss Maya Palacio. How are you?
Feeling pretty good this morning.
Well, that is awesome. Did you got to see a bit of the Bermuda Day festivities, right?
Yeah, I watched it right here from the comfort of my home, but no, I really did miss actually being there because the weather looked amazing. It looked
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. I must say, I had an awesome time in Atlanta, but I was like, man, I could have probably did both. Yeah, I saw everyone having fun, and it's like it made me feel like that COVID year when I didn't make it to Bermuda for a cop match.
Mm.
And I was like, man, I feel like I'm missing out on life.
It's called FOMO.
Yeah, what's that? What's FOMO mean?
Oh, the fear of missing out. FOMO.
Oh, see, I don't know this lingo, you all. I don't know this lingo. Fear of missing out. Yeah, I had that. Um, what you like? What are your thoughts on the parade? You enjoyed it?
Mm. It was great because I got to watch it with some friends, like back home who were home. They're like kind of giving me commentary while I was like watching it here on my screen. Again, like, yeah, it does. It's the first time I watched it on CITV. So I was very like, oh, when I realized that, oh, this is the only camera angle that we got. Basically, we got about maybe three, one low, one overhead, and then one straight ahead. And I was like, oh, man, because like you obviously miss when people are dancing out the areas and spots and things
Mhm.
like that. But it was really cool to see how many Bermudians were tapping in from around the world. That was really awesome to see. When the commentator did like announce it, like, oh, so and so saying hi from here, there, and I was like, oh wow, everyone like also wants to feel that vibe, wants to feel the community,
Yeah,
so it's cool.
yeah. Well, hopefully, things can be improved upon going forward. We can get some better camera angles. We can get some commentary training and improve what's on offer. But you know, again, folks, stuff like this, whether it's the race or whatnot, I'm just speaking for the industry. We need audience support financially, not just in the comments. All right, Maya, what you got for us today?
Indeed. Well, good morning, everyone. This is your daily hour news brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. Well, the community was vibrant, the weather was perfect, and the streets are full of culture on Bermuda Day inside the city of Hamilton. Lamont Marshall and Gail Lindsay won the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby in their respective groups, and many gumbays, schools, clubs, majorettes, and more joined the celebrations and history. However, the beauty of the day will not be remembered as such, for family and friends grieve the death of a 20-year-old young man who died after being stabbed on Bermuda Day. Around 3:15 p.m. on Friday, May the 24th, police responded to a report of a disturbance at the Horseshoe Bay Beach. On police arrival, it was ascertained that a 20-year-old man had been stabbed and was being assisted by on-duty lifeguards. EMTs attended the location and transported the man to the hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. A 17-year-old male has been arrested in connection with this incident. Police are keen to speak to anyone who may have witnessed this incident or recorded the incident to contact Acting Detective Inspector Anika Donowa on 717-2250.
Tragic. Tragic on so many levels. Obviously, I don't know any details about it, but I don't need to, man. Life's lost, right? Unnecessary. Regardless of what it was. And we have two families that are broken to their core today, right? On a day that should be celebrated, our culture, our history, everything that's good about Bermuda. Here we are, have two families mourning today.
Yeah, it truly is a deep tragedy. Police also said that there were some videos circulating. They again ask you, please do not do that. But if you do get something, send it to the police, take it to the police, but delete it off your device. It's already completely shattering for family to find out this information that way, but to have something be circulated like that of the death of somebody they love, don't do
Yeah,
that.
I was very curious how a tourist would be able to record that and it get in the hands of Bermudians.
That's a good question. I actually didn't know that it either started from that. So
Rashida Godwin makes a point here. She says that is the real Bermuda, and you can't holiday it away. This may go over some people's heads, but she's basically we can't dance, drink, and party the reality of our community away. And unfortunately, this is the reality of our community right now. And when we come back down from the high, this is what we have to deal with. We need to get a check on that. Thank you for that, Rashida. Absolutely, Rosalind Famous. Absolutely, it was a good comment.
Now, unfortunately, that actually wasn't the only stabbing that happened that day. In total, there was actually 5 stabbing incidents around Bermuda Day. But the next one that you may have heard about was that early in the morning of Bermuda Day, right before the race, shortly before like 8 a.m., police were in the process of clearing the raceway in Front Street when they were alerted to a report of a stabbing just outside of Pier 6. Information suggests that there may have been some sort of domestic dispute involving a male and a female, resulting in the male receiving a stab wound to the head. EMTs attended the scene to render first aid to the victim, and he had been conveyed to the hospital for treatment of his injuries. The suspect is described as being slim-built, dark skin complexion, female, wearing dark clothing. This incident took place in front of a large number of Bermuda Day spectators. Anyone who may have witnessed this incident and have not already spoken with police are urged to call Sergeant Seymour Foote on 247-1154. A reminder that anonymous reporting can also be made on portal.police.bm or the Crime Stoppers number 800-8477.
Wow. That happened in front of people, huh?
Yep, they did say there was many, bystanders that were there, spectators who were looking to see the race as well. So they do want people, if you haven't said anything to police, obviously this is the time, go ahead, you can call obviously on the confidential lines, or again, just 211 as well, and someone could patch you through to the right person to speak to. But if you witness anything over the holiday, definitely report it in.
Indeed.
Now, in relation to all the stabbings that happened, now Minister Michael Weeks actually said in a statement that he says on what should have been a joyous day of national celebration, our community was shaken by 2 senseless acts of violence, which I condemn, stated by the minister. My profound sympathies go out to the family and friends of the young man who tragically lost his life at Horseshoe Bay. We also extend our thoughts and prayers to the individual injured on Front Street and wish them a swift recovery. He closes by saying such violence is utterly unacceptable in our society, and we must urgently address the root causes of why our young men and women are increasingly involved in such violent incidents. It is imperative that we work together to provide them with better opportunities for a support system. Now, as I had mentioned earlier about, the amount, an overview from the Bermuda Police Service in their press statement the other day, they said that there were about 5 stabbings over Bermuda holiday, and 19 arrests were made by police over the Bermuda holiday weekend as well, including 5 for impaired driving. The additional 3 other incidents over the weekend involved bladed articles, resulting in 2 further victims being treated at the hospital and released for non-life-threatening injuries, thankfully. But since 2020, there have been 84 incidents reported to police involving bladed instruments, with 87 resulting in injury. Now, in 2023, there were 25 bladed weapons incidents, and there have been 16 thus far this year. And again, we're not even at the end of May. But here's a little bit more from the officer himself.
So far this year, we've arrested 31 persons. And in 2024, we arrested 58 persons in relation to bladed articles. This is not new to Bermuda. It's not a new phenomenon. And if this doesn't stop or active steps are not taken to arrest this type of behavior, this can reach epidemic proportions. So we need to take some action. So please continue to take steps in an effort to reduce bladed article incidents, whether exercising our legislative powers, and whether that be stop and search.
Yeah, and he went on to just list out a host of things that can be done.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I just, yeah. We can't, I don't want to say it's the elephant in the room. I mean, we know what Bermuda is today. We know what it is right now. I guess one of the things that a friend of mine says in one of our group chats all the time, and I'm sure many people tune into the show right now can relate. When you look at the ages of many of the people who are engaged in this behavior right now, maybe their parents went to school together, were friends at some point, maybe they're cousins in some way. Do these children know each other? Are they involved in activities where they, get around each other? Like I'm not quite sure enough's being done by us, the community, because what concerned me about everything just now was something that the minister said, Michael Weeks, and it sounds very America-like, and that's what you don't want to happen. That little quote, the American quote, thoughts and prayers. If that's what Bermuda's reduced to, we're in trouble.
It's been a holiday weekend no one, I think, wanted to happen or even expected. So it's not even over yet, Jamal. Like there's more in this story and this news break that it just makes you think, because I've told, and we've said it many times when we talk about collisions, we talk about stabbings. Actually, recently, and this personal for me, but I had a friend of mine reach out because they watch the show. They live in Vancouver, and she was like, "You used to talk about Bermuda being like so amazing, want me to visit." And every single time in the news break, there's stabbings or shootings in Bermuda. Like, is it actually as safe as you say? Because it's looking rough.
Well, Teo kind of shared something a couple of weeks ago. He said you're more likely to be shot in Bermuda than the U.S.
Mm-hmm. I remember that report, that statistic. We're too small, and it's the reality. Meanwhile, moving on with the news break this morning, on the eve of Bermuda Day, a male motorcyclist was injured in a collision involving government vehicles. Now, this happened on Thursday around 10:45 a.m. and police, along with other first responders, were dispatched to report of a collision in Middle Road, Devonshire, near the junction with Watlington Lane, involving a government car and a motorcycle. Information suggests that the car was stopped in a lane of traffic in the eastbound lane when the male motorcyclist heading in the same direction struck the rear end of the government vehicle. The driver was not reported to be injured. However, the motorcyclist is believed to have suffered potentially serious injuries. Again, if you witness that incident, they ask that you please call 211 and speak to an officer at your earliest convenience.
All right.
Yeah. And moving on to the eve of Bermuda Day, 11:10 p.m., police recovered a firearm as well. Now, this happened around the area of Cambridge Road in Sands Parish. They observed persons fleeing on foot after seeing the police. The police officers made a search of the general area, resulting in the recovery of a firearm. Now, the weapon is being forensically processed and test fired to establish if it is operational. Now, the men made good their escape out of the area, but the Serious Crimes Unit are continuing investigations into the firearm recovery as well. And closing out with some of your news this morning, again, another unfortunate collision that occurred with a dumpster truck and a water truck, and a man being able to escape out of the incident that said that the trapped vehicle was a little bit much so on fire as well. Now, he was transported to the hospital where thankfully his injuries were very minor, and so he should be okay.
Wow. I mean, we've been talking about the Bermuda Day festivities. Seems like havoc. But again, that's all reality, right? Until we change it.
Yes. Now, before we close out with some happier celebratory news, another thing that happened with the police was that someone was actually, a woman from Canada was charged because she had her drugs intercepted by the police. Now, the value of her drugs that came into Bermuda was $1.8 million, the street worth of the value. And she was charged for conspiracy to import cannabis, importation of a controlled drug, and also possession with intent to supply. So that also happened throughout the long weekend.
My word.
So, yeah.
These
Police
were
are
big.
cracking down.
Yeah.
Down on that one. Now, in some celebratory news for Bermuda right now, in sports, we have less than 2 months for the Olympics to actually be here on our doorsteps. And in recent results, 3 Bermudians made history for the island. Flora Duffy, Erica Howley, and Tyler Smith have qualified for the 2024 Olympic Games. So this is the first time there has been 3 triathletes competing at the Olympics for Bermuda. So that's a really big deal. Flora Duffy will be defending her 2020 championship and heading to her 5th Olympics. Erica Howley captured the last Olympic ranking spot and will be making her debut at the Olympics. And then Tyler Smith secured a coveted tripartite commission spot. So he will also be making his first Olympic appearance. So now we have 5 qualified Bermudians for the Olympic Games.
Big up to all of them. Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring home another medal, another few medals. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
we still have a lot more to go with qualifications. I think we have to the end of June or even a little like mid-July for more qualifications for other athletes as well to be making it to the coveted Olympic Games. And for the weather today, it's sunny periods with 1 or 2 lingering showers, unfortunately. But we have a high of 80, so we're streaming up to the 80s. So it's going to be quite humid today.
All right. So today is the 28th of May, correct? So let's see. Well, Maya, it's a couple of days. It is brisket day, hamburger day, and we've got hunger day, Amnesty International Day, passion fruit martini day. You know what? Burgers is fun, right? Burgers is fun. Well, what's your favorite condiment to put on your burger? Audience, let us know your favorite condiments to put on your burgers. What's your favorite condiments to put on your burgers, Maya?
I really like, well, I've eaten chicken burgers at the minimum, even though I don't even really eat chicken. So veggies. So I like fried onions. Fried onions is probably like one of my go-to. I like putting that on if that's considered a condiment. Or I was talking about ketchups because if that's it, then just ketchup.
Decorate your fried onions. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you do lettuce and tomato?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Audience, let us know. I eat my Impossible burgers. I don't, really mess with the call like that. But I like the mixed mustard and relish that goes for hot dogs. I got my mixed relish and mustard. Like to throw that on with some onions. Yeah. And what, you don't like that?
I don't like mustard or relish.
Oh man, that's the best combo ever.
Or mayo.
See, Suzanne Ingham's got it. Mustard relish. That's me. She didn't know I was going to say that. That's me. Folks, what do you like on your burgers? Maya's a fried onion person. She just has fried onions and nothing else on her burger, all right? All right, that's what we're doing to you, Maya. Have a wonderful day with your fried onions on your chicken burger.
You too. Bye.
My apologies, folks. Folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, 27 seconds with your parliamentary registrar. We're going to find out why some of you are allowed to vote. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paula's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. If you haven't already, do us a favor real quickly. Give us a like, love, thumbs up, whatever platform you're on. If you can repost it. You can share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. This is one of those conversations you want to be a part of. This is a person you don't get to engage with regularly. This is a person you'll usually read about in the news or will see in the news, but this is probably one of the few opportunities you will get to ask questions directly. So let's, before we bring her on, because we're going to ask her what she likes on her burgers as well. But we've got Charles likes, I'm pretty sure they call this like the works: fried onions, bacon, spinach, mayo, ketchup, honey. I mean, do you leave anything for the imagination, Charles? Headley and Swan says raw onions and mayonnaise. Shortnett Bell says fried onions, mayo, and relish. Okay. Karen Simmons says tomato and what's dollop? Very small amount of mayo. What's dollop? You got me with that. Anyway, let's give a warm TDH welcome to our guest for the day. We've got Tenia Wooldridge, the Parliamentary registrar, coming in. We're talking about voting, folks. Greetings. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. But before we get into it, right? Did you participate in the Bermuda Day Parade?
I didn't.
You didn't? Did you?
No.
Did you go to it or watch it?
I didn't. We had
Okay.
a by-election last week, so I rested.
Fair enough. Yes, that's acceptable. Well, I gotta ask you. I mean, you saw everyone sharing what they like on the burgers. Do you have anything special you like to put on your burgers?
Tomato and mayonnaise.
Okay, that's simple. Tomato and mayonnaise. That's a Bermudian thing, I swear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm boring because I put a mix of the mustard relish and fried onions on mine, but I think we could work with that. But thank you for thank you for coming coming to engage with us. And audience, again, Ms. Wooldridge is from the Parliamentary Registrar's Office. That's the place where you pretty much find out if you're registered, how to register, and the like. So feel free to ask your questions away. Keep it focused as much as possible. But just tell us a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
My personal background or the office?
Personal.
Okay. So I've been working at the Parliamentary Registry since 2006 or 7. I started in the office in 2003 as an election assistant. And then when I came in from college, there was an opening in the office and I took the opportunity to come back and I haven't left. So I've been the registration officer. Then I moved to the assistant parliamentary registrar. And I have been the registrar now since 2014.
Okay. And so that said, what is the role of the office?
So effectively, the Parliamentary Registry is an election management body. So we are responsible for the conduct and management of general elections, by-elections, referenda, municipal elections. I'm responsible for keeping or maintaining the Parliamentary Register of Voters. We also do apostilles in our office, which is a service that we provide on behalf of the government. On behalf of the Deputy Governor's Office to the Hague Convention. And basically voter awareness.
Okay. And audience, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. You all usually have a lot to say about this particular area. Here's the thing. I mean, many people go through this every few years. To me, it's something that when you get your license, you should just check anyway. But how can someone know whether they're registered to vote or not?
So on our website, you can actually go in. It's a section called Am I Registered? And you just put in only what they ask for, your first and last name and your date of birth, and it will show you whether or not you're registered to vote. If you think that you are registered or you should be registered and your name isn't coming up, you can always reach out to us and we would look that up for you.
Okay. And what's the website for?
It's elections.gov.bm.
Okay. All right. And what qualifies someone to be a registered voter in Bermuda?
So they have to be Bermudian, they need to be 18 years or older, and they need to be ordinarily resident in Bermuda. Ordinarily resident means that you don't leave the island to live for more than 6 months.
See, now you're getting personal with me because I ain't trying to call nobody out, madam, but there are certain people who've hosted this show with me where they've remained on the register, and I was taken off. So how does the office go about monitoring that? Like, how do you even know? Because Bermuda, from a general perspective that has been discussed in the news recently, they don't even keep data of how many people leave. Is it because I'm more a public figure that that he no longer lives there? How is that managed?
Well, probably for you, that's one of the reasons why we know that you don't live here, because you say it, and everybody knows. But generally, we used to have registration officers that we employed ourselves to go door to door and basically check off what we have on the register people for the first time, make registration changes. So that's kind of how we keep up with it. And then also, by the newspapers, sometimes people actually come and let us know that they've left. So we're able to take people off of the list in that way. Otherwise than that, that's our only means. As you say, nobody is recording the data of people leaving. I always think it's funny when people say people are leaving in droves. I'm like, where are they? Well, how do you know? Who's recording that? We're actually doing an exercise right now for the Boundaries Commission's work, and we don't have data to support, who's left or came, and we don't have any of that data. So I'm not sure how everybody else is keeping up with it.
But you just made me think of another question. So for a person who has left, because many Bermudians do return, they would what would be the process for them registering again?
Just basically come back and say you've returned. You don't have to be back for any specific period of time, but once you come back and you can satisfy me that you've returned to the island, then we'll put you back on the register.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, okay. What this outside of like living, because in the US, I mean, you got a criminal record and you can no longer vote, right? What disqualifies someone from being able to vote in Bermuda?
Being incarcerated, becoming ineligible because of fraud or something like that. Not, you have to be Bermudian, obviously, so that would be disqualifying you once you leave. Like I say, otherwise than that, nothing else.
I think Walton Brown, the late Walton Brown, was speaking about that, because I think I always said, well, Bermuda's great because you even if you have a criminal record, you still can vote. And then it was brought to my attention, yeah, but people incarcerated couldn't. And I remember him and the late Laverne Ferbert having a discussion publicly saying, well, what constituency would they be in? And I was just like, well, the constituency they were registered in, but how would that even work? I don't know what that would look like, but thanks for mentioning that. That's a good point. People who are incarcerated lose their right to vote during the time that they're incarcerated. When they come out, they can vote again.
Right, but we also allow parolees to vote now, people on license. That used to be where if you were on parole or license, you still couldn't vote. But now, if you're parole or license, you can vote. Oh,
okay. I mean, that's something that many other jurisdictions wish they had. So I props to the office for that. What is the thing that you feel like people just don't know that they should know about voting in Bermuda? Like, I think when the by-election comes, there's this rush recently in terms of people knowing whether or not they can vote. Obviously, you just said they can go to the website, check it out. But there are people that move to different constituencies, right? Yeah. Is it illegal for them to still vote in the other constituency if they fail to register in a new one? Like, how does that work?
Technically, yes. So any voter is supposed to contact our office within 28 days of any changes to their registration details. That also includes their name. So not just moving, but changing your name. If you don't change your registration details and you go back to the constituency that you lived in before, you can do it. People do it, but you risk you risk getting challenged by one of the parties, and then they'll basically question your right to vote. And then you'll have to sign something to basically say, well, I'm voting anyway. And if they decide to take it to court, then you could end up in court, and then you'll be charged with voter fraud, which would make you ineligible for a period of time.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't even want to ask what the penalty is for voter fraud. Just don't do it, folks. I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But I always wondered that, because people do move, and I don't think voter registration is top of anyone's mind until an election is called. So 28 days
Pretty
to
much.
change your information. 28 days, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's like
Is it?
one.
I wish people paid a little bit more attention to it though, because during the election period, in the first 7 days is registration, and that's the only time that you have when an election's called to change your details or to get your details up to date. In that 7 days, my office receives anywhere between like 2,500 and 3,000 forms at one time, and then we basically have maybe 10 days for that process to happen and to get all of the registrations in, and then it's a frenzy. Everybody's doing it like 10 times online because they don't see it yet, not thinking that I probably have 4 people working in this office who have to do all of those forms within that period. So we try to encourage people to keep their registration details up to date and remember when they move to change it.
Okay. Interesting. Let's go to the audience. Audience, if you have any questions, I'll get through as many as possible. Anika De Shields, she's asking, what about students abroad in college or university and their right to their vote, their eligibility?
Yes, we've always given that to students and people in the hospital overseas. They have the right to vote, unless they're registered.
Okay, as long as they're registered. A lot of questions, folks. I'm trying to stick with them and make sure I don't miss anything. Suzanne Ingham said, if someone wanted to help on election day, how do they go about it?
On our website, we have a form for presiding officers. You can just go on there, fill the form in, and submit it.
All right. We've got Charles H. Justice II. He says, in 2020, my mother received a call asking if I lived here. She said no, and I was removed. That seemed very random. Is that how it works?
In 2020. So what happens as well, we do receive objections to the register. So, for example, on the 15th of June, we will be publishing our annual register. After that, there is a month where people can make objections to the register. So if anyone was canvassing in that area and found out that that person wasn't living there, they could tell me that and pay $5 for the objection. But it has to be done in writing. So they can tell me that, we visited this house and we see that he isn't living here and we want to object to his registration. So then I would try to find out whether or not that's true. Now, given an election period, I don't have a lot of time to do that. So I would generally just try to call whatever numbers we have for the person to find out what their status is. So if his mom is saying, my son hasn't lived there for years, he's living in New York, or then I would make a note in my system that I spoke to his mother such and such a day. She confirmed that he's no longer living here. And then I would go ahead and make him ineligible.
Interesting. It seems so easy, a process of what you're doing. Jacqueline, she's asking, how often is the information re-residential address changes put out there to the public?
In recent years, during COVID and all, we haven't really had a whole lot of press on it as far as like social media and those things, but we're hoping to be able to increase that now that I've been able to update my job descriptions and the structure of the office so that we can include social media and website content in somebody's job description.
Got it. Charles H. Justice II, he says, many other jurisdictions allow for absentee voting. Is that something that needs to be legislated in Bermuda?
Needs to be legislated? I wouldn't say that I have the authority to say that it needs to be. I have been able to witness and observe in other jurisdictions where we get invited to sometimes that process. And although that might sound like a easy thing, what it does is it opens up the door for voter fraud, which is something that's very low here. So the more things you add, the more the door opens for voter fraud. If people are comfortable with voting online and having their votes cast by mail, which I would not suggest personally, but if they are, then we can move towards that. We'll be fine. My guess is that they won't be there.
Okay. We see what happened in 2020 just with the allegation, whether true or not. It does create its own set of issues, and I understand what a lot of people would love to see, give people the options, right? But there are other things that come with those kind of things. Manuela John's asking, can your change of residence/district be updated online?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, and we have a section where it says, am I registered to vote? And then under that it says register for the first time and change your details. So you can go and click that, fill out form in, and just submit it.
All right. And I know you said in terms of removing people, they can object to someone being on the register, right? Who would do the objection? Would it be the political parties?
Anybody can object.
So, because I think there's like a misunderstanding in the public. I remember when I tell people, "Oh, I can vote, so I just can discuss things." They took me off, right? Well, legally they can't remove you, and I'm like, oh, according to what they say, if you're not living in Bermuda consistently, they can remove you. I don't think people understand that, though. I think, is it blurred? Is it legislative? Is it policy?
Yeah, it's legislated. It says that you must be ordinarily resident to vote in Bermuda.
And that is 6 months at a time. You must live in Bermuda for 6 months consistently.
No, you can't leave for a period of 6 months or longer. You could be here. Once you come back to Bermuda, if you come to my office and say, I've moved back home and I want my name back on the register, and then I can be satisfied that you did, I can put you back on the register. You don't have to be for any period of time here. Once you're back, then you just come and say, I'm back.
Oh, so I can come tomorrow and say I'm back.
But if you show up the next day on her, then I might have to question where you really are.
I'm laughing because I think it's so blurred, though. I think it's blurred. Not in my case, but I'm just saying I know so many people who are living between both. Like what about people who live between both? You know, they may be back and forth like a week here, a week there. Like how do you I don't know. It just
well, if you only left for a week, then that's not 6 months.
Well, okay, yeah. This is fun. Suzanne Ingham says voter fraud is a big concern. How has that happened here before? How secure is voting? Well, that's a good question, because after don't they have people on the election day that take the ballot box and carry it somewhere? Like, how secure is it all?
Don't say anything like that. Nobody moves ballot boxes in Bermuda. We empty them in the room the same night in front of everybody.
Okay.
So the question was, what was it? She said,
oh, sorry.
Voter fraud a concern?
Voter fraud is a big concern. Has that happened here before? How secure is voting?
So I've been around since the 2003 election. So I have never experienced any voter fraud in Bermuda. Voter fraud is very low, as you say, because we don't have all these extra pieces coming in. So we don't have absentee voting. We don't have where somebody can come, or proxy voting. We don't have where somebody else can come and vote on your behalf. So we have a very low instance. If it is an instance, it's not like that you could see. So I would say no, we don't really have any voter fraud here. We have a lot of safeguards during the election processes that prevent voter fraud. Like, for example, like I said, we open the boxes in the polling booth. In a lot of countries, they transport the boxes and count them in one big place. And I've observed the elections in a lot of places, and I have to say that our election process is by far one of the most secure. And not just because I work here, like by far the most secure. I've experienced where I've been in polling stations where somebody walks in and they're like, oh, I'm named Jamal Hartman and I don't have ID. And then somebody in the booth, oh yeah, I know him. I know him. He's Jamal, because he used to live next door to me. I'll let him vote. Without ID. And then the person gives them a ballot paper and they go through and they vote. So if the real Jamal Hartman comes after that with ID, he's already voted. We don't do that in Bermuda. You have to have valid ID to vote.
Okay, that's good. So Teresa Marie, she kind of just said that proof of residential address should be required the same as for bank accounts. Is that something that is like, so for instance, you did say earlier they can go online to register to vote? Is there anything that's needed as proof? How does that look? I haven't done it. Sorry.
So no, we don't require you to really produce anything like a Balco bill or anything like that to vote. But the onus is on the voter, and it's clear on our forms that if you are fraudulently doing this, that there are consequences for that. And because of the way our system is, and like you said, every time it's a by-election or anything like that, people are in your neighborhood, they're canvassing, they're going around. And you'll be surprised, like neighbors and things will come out and say, "Oh, who are you looking for?" And then they say, "Oh, we're looking for son." Say, "He don't live here. He ain't lived there for a long time. His mama used to own that house, and she is." So Bermudians ain't sitting quietly and letting people be registered next door to the houses. I even have people who call and say, "The people whose names on this register, they don't live here no more. I want that names off."
Wow.
Yeah, I have people calling all the time. People get divorced, and if the husbands don't change their addresses or the wives don't change their addresses fast enough, they call and they tell me, "I want them off." So
that's, it's good community help, I would say, and definitely appreciate that. I was mistaken because I didn't realize that all votes were counted in the place where the election took place.
Absolutely,
because
in a room full of people.
Yeah, I've been present as a former deputy chair of a constituency, and I'm pretty sure I remember something differently, but I could be mistaken. I could have been all in my head. So how does the real quickly for election night, they have count 1, count 2, count 3. How is that done? Like, is it done from time period? Or is it just randomly done? How do they sort what's going to be considered for count 1, 2, 3, and the like?
So what I train my returning officers to do is at the end of the day to count how many votes has actually been cast based on the tabs they have left from the ballot papers. So if they say, okay, it was 600 votes, and I get them to I get them to split it up in the 4 counts.
Okay.
So if it was 600 votes, I say, okay, you do your first 200, first 300, and then you get to 400 when you call me again, and you get to this month, and I got them to split it up. So when they get to the first mark, they'll call in to Election Central and say, this is my first call, and call them with the numbers, this is this is that. And then we repeat it back to them, and then they keep counting. When they get to the next mark halfway, they call back, and they got to the 3/4 mark, they call back. And then when they're finished, they say, I have my final count. And then that's how we publish it. But the whole time they're doing that, the room is filled with people.
Okay. And how many people does the office have? Obviously, you got four full-time, I think I heard you say, correct?
Yeah, there are 4. Well, I just applied for 1 more, so 5. We're gonna be having 5.
Okay. And during an election, a general election in particular, how many people do you bring on board to either volunteer or assist the office?
As returning and presiding officers. So returning officers, I do about, say, 75. Presiding officers, I do about 300.
Okay.
And then we have vendors, outside vendors, so that do different things for us that we rent things from. We have people who assist us with advertising.
Okay. And what is the deadline? So, for instance, like how much time prior to an election should someone be registered to vote? What's the deadlines in that respect?
So registration is continuous in Bermuda, so you can register anytime. You can change your address at any time. But as I said, once an election gets called, there's a 7-day window. After that 7-day window, I will close registration, and it will be closed until the election's over. So it's best to keep things up to date because you don't want to get caught out, if that's 7-day period.
Okay. Obviously, again, like I said, we've tried to get you on to kind of explain this for a while. You don't necessarily go in public and have these conversations. So where can people go to learn more about their voting rights and options to stay up to date? Because I agree with Larry Marshall. This was valuable information. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm ignorant to a lot of it. I was just upset that somebody's told on me and said I'm not there anymore because they listened to the show and my big mouth gave against me. But where can people go for information?
You can go to our website at elections.gov.bm. We're also going to be trying to push more social media. So we do have a Facebook page and an Instagram page that the girls are working on right now to try and get ads ready for you guys, to encourage people to change the registration details, keep them up to date, know where you're registered as far as what constituency you live in. There's also a constituency searcher on the site that you can check if you're not sure what constituency you live in. And then we have a boundaries commission who's in the process of working right now. If there's any changes to that, we'll be publishing those changes. Any changes that have been made in the past are on our website underneath our reports section. So the information's all there if you want to take some time to just go to the site.
Yeah, I'd encourage everyone to do that. Please. One last question from the audience. Manuela John, she's just asking, if there's a situation where a person's car is registered at a residence where they don't live, does the parliamentary registrar have access to that information?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, Tenia Wooldridge, thank you so much for this conversation. Appreciate the information, as people have stated in the audience. It's very helpful. Thank you for engaging, and please keep us up to date. Anything changes, anything people need to know. We definitely appreciate you, educating me in particular, so that going forward, I feel more confident speaking about why I'm not on the registry.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the reaching out to me as well.
No problem. Have a great one. Talk soon.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All right. Tenia Wooldridge, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, yes, it was great info, Suzanne Ingham. If you appreciate the conversation and information, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Do me a favor, share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. There's no reason anyone shouldn't know whether they're eligible, how to register, and the like. So going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 55 seconds. Daily Play and wrap it up. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to the Parliamentary Registrar's Office, Tenia Wooldridge, for stopping by for what I deem an extremely important conversation. Folks, do us a favor, just one quick favor. It costs you nothing. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. If you're on YouTube, just hit that thumbs up button for us. Share it with your family, your friends, your colleagues. Make sure everyone has it in their share. Since I live between Bermuda and the US, I think I should be back on the registry. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Now in stores, in many stores throughout Bermuda. There are 5 editions out, 2 more on the way before the end of this year, so you don't want to miss that. So follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and X to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Don't forget, Bermuda Trivia, the game show, is going to be released soon. We've had some people reach out to us to be contestants already. If you'd like to be a contestant on Bermuda Trivia, the game show, recording starts in June, so next month. All you have to do is send an email to contact@bermudatrivia.com. Your chance to win prizes and more. So you want to be a contestant, hit us up. All right. It's a remember when today. The first person who puts the correct answer back on the the first person who answers correctly on my screen will be eligible for this week's prize. All right, it's a question for the United States today, right? In what year was former United States President John F. Kennedy assassinated in Dallas, Texas? What year? We have a winner. Sorry, Charles actually came up first, Mark. I just hit Charles H. Jeffs II came up first. Then Mark Arthur C. Phillips. Now, if Charles wants to be nice enough to give it to you, Mark, but all of you got it. Wow. Well, someone said 1863. I think that was a slip, but 1963 is the answer. How you all know that? I wouldn't have guessed 1963. Everybody guessed 1963. You all are good. All right. Charles, you yeah, Larry wants to get it right when it's not on. See, Charles, you'll be the first name in this week's draw. So congratulations to you. But let's wrap it up. Let's talk. You spoke about Bermuda Day earlier, but in truth, I'm going to stick with Rashida Godwin's comment about Bermuda Day. It's like they say when you're trying to drink your problems away. You go to a bar and you just sit there and you get intoxicated, and then when you sober up, your problems still remain. I love celebrating holidays and Bermuda, but I also, things are not lost on me during that time. I think we love, I've said it on this show numerous times, we love a good party. We love to free up. But reality all around us is saying that we have a problem in our community amongst our young people that is really shaping what we have become. This ain't a thoughts and prayers thing. This is a let's get our hands dirty and fix our community thing. We've got to face reality, folks. We can't run from it. As far as the parliamentary registrar, I really appreciate Ms. Wooldridge coming on. Awesome conversation, a lot of information. I'm still upset they removed me from the registrar. I'm gonna be honest with you. I technically live between both at this point. So I think I agree with you all. I think they should, I think there should be a petition to add Jamal back to the registrar. I think there should be a petition. You all should help me out. Get back on the registrar. I mean, not like my vote matters, right? I mean, my constituency was 90% one way, but I think just having that option, I take it that we should have that option. It shouldn't be taken away lightly. So I appreciate the information, and I hope that if you are a person who does vote, is interested in voting, and in the process, share that information. Make sure we know what we need to know as a community, so that we can ensure that we have the people we want leading us politically. All right, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, the Daily. Oh, I have to give you a quote first, don't I? It's daily inspiration. Here we go. Daily inspiration for today is: courage is fear holding on a minute longer. End quote. George S. Patton. All right, folks. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay updated with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hart, and please do make it a safe and a great day. I am out. Peace.